All right, so have you ever wondered what it's like to, peek behind the curtain of a company's finances?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
No,
today, we're
definitely.
doing just that with Shakti Pumps.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, an Indian company
Okay.
you might recognize for their, pumps.
Pumps. All right.
We've got a stack of their recent documents here,
Okay.
unaudited financials for the quarter ending December 31st, 2024,
All right.
plus some news from their latest board meeting.
Mm,
Our mission today
okay.
is to figure out how Shakti Pumps is really doing
All right.
and see if we can unearth any interesting nuggets for you along the way.
Yeah. I'm always up for a good treasure hunt.
All right, well, right off the bat,
Okay.
something catches my eye.
Hmm.
Shakti Pumps seems to be on
Okay.
quite a winning streak
Uh-huh.
when you look at their 9-month performance ending in December.
So almost the whole year?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a clear growth story,
Mm.
especially in terms of revenue.
Got it.
Okay, stop right there
Oh,
because you're being way too modest.
really?
Yeah, their revenue isn't just growing.
Okay.
It practically leaped off the page.
Wow.
We're talking 150.92 crore rupees
Okay.
for the first 9 months of 2024,
All right.
compared to a much smaller 761.46 crore rupees
Yeah, that's a
during the same period in 2023.
big difference.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's more than double.
More than double.
What do you think is driving such a huge jump?
That's the million rupee question, isn't it?
Yeah.
While the reports don't give us all the answers, we
Right.
can start piecing together some clues.
Okay.
But before we delve into that,
Okay.
there's another interesting move Shakti Pumps just made.
Okay.
They granted 84,000 ESOPs,
ESOPs.
or employee stock ownership plans,
Okay.
to their eligible employees
So
at a price of 83 rupees per option.
for anyone listening who's thinking,
Okay.
ESOP, is that some kind of soup?
Right.
Let's break it down.
Okay.
An ESOP basically gives employees a chance to own a piece of the company.
Like a slice of the pie.
Yeah, usually through options to buy shares at a set price.
Yeah.
In this case, that price is 83 rupees per option.
All right.
It's like saying, hey, team, if we all work hard
Uh-huh.
and the company does well, you'll benefit directly.
So everyone wins.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
And what's particularly interesting is that these ESOPs vest over 4 years.
Oh, so they can't just
This means employees can't just cash in right away.
right away. Okay.
They're incentivized to stick around
Oh,
and help Shakti Pumps continue its upward trajectory.
got it.
Yeah,
Smart move, right?
definitely a smart move.
It's like they're saying, we're betting on you,
Mm-hmm.
and we want you to bet on us, too.
Yeah, I like that.
But hold on. There's more intrigue to uncover.
Ooh, tell me more.
They also shook things up a bit with their key committees.
Okay,
Audit, nomination, and remuneration.
the big ones.
Yeah, all got a little reshuffle.
Little shakeup.
Yeah.
These kinds of changes aren't always earth-shattering, but they can sometimes hint at shifts in a company's strategy or priorities.
Interesting.
Think of it this way. If a football team suddenly changes their offensive coordinator mid-season,
Okay.
it suggests they're looking to try something new, right?
That's true.
It'll be interesting to see how this plays out for Shakti Pumps.
Oh, I love a good business mystery.
Me too.
Now let's turn our attention to the auditor's report.
Okay.
For this, they brought in Price Waterhouse.
Price Waterhouse, I've heard of them.
Yeah, a name you've probably heard before.
Yeah,
They're a big deal in the auditing world.
the big leagues.
Right. And while most of the report is standard procedure,
Okay.
there are a few things that jumped out at me.
Oh, really?
For example,
Okay.
it mentions that one subsidiary's financials weren't even reviewed because they weren't considered material to the group's overall performance.
Interesting.
Now, that raises a few eyebrows, wouldn't you say?
Definitely what's going on over there.
Yeah, it's like finding a hidden room in a mansion.
Ooh.
You thought you knew.
I like that analogy.
Yeah. A secret room.
And speaking of curious details, there's a branch in Uganda that's actually operating at a loss.
Well, that's a development worth pondering.
Yeah.
What factors are contributing to those losses?
Right.
Are they still getting their footing in a new market? Is there something unique about the Ugandan market that makes it challenging for them?
It's a bit of a puzzle.
Yeah.
It certainly adds a layer of complexity to their otherwise rosy picture, doesn't it?
Sure it does.
But before we get too lost in the weeds,
Okay.
let's not forget the big news for shareholders.
Oh, right.
Back in November 2024, Shakti Pumps issued a 5.1 bonus share.
Wow.
That means for every one share someone held,
Okay.
they got 5 more.
Wow, that's generous.
Talk about a happy holiday surprise.
Yeah, no kidding.
Bonus shares are usually a signal
Uh-huh.
that a company is feeling pretty good about its future.
Yeah, they're feeling confident.
It's a way to reward investors.
Makes sense.
Uh,
And potentially attract new ones.
Right.
And with the growth they've been experiencing,
Yeah,
I can see why they'd be feeling confident.
definitely.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Remember, these financial results are unaudited.
Unaudited, right?
What exactly does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
And why should we care?
Good question. You're right to raise that point. Unaudited simply means that an independent auditor hasn't fully vetted the financial statements yet.
So they haven't been given, like, the official stamp of approval.
Think of it like a rough draft.
Okay,
It gives us a good overview.
got it.
But we need to wait for that final polished version for absolute certainty.
So kind of like how I pick a cake.
Okay.
Looks amazing coming out of the oven, but gotta wait for the taste test to be sure it's truly a masterpiece, right?
Precisely. And speaking of taste tests, let's dig into what might be fueling this impressive growth.
Okay.
Shakti Pumps bread and butter is manufacturing pumps for everything from farms to factories.
Right. Pumps for everything.
But they've also been making a push into solar-powered pumps,
Oh.
which is a smart move considering the global shift towards renewable energy.
Yeah, definitely. India has been heavily investing in solar. So Shakti Pumps is well positioned to ride that wave.
Absolutely, they're tapping into a growing market.
Plus, they're not just content with their home turf. Remember that Uganda branch we were discussing?
Oh, right, Uganda.
That's part of their strategy to expand internationally.
Exactly. So their growth could be a combination of several factors: strong demand in India's success with new products like solar pumps and this push to expand their global footprint.
So they're firing on all cylinders.
It seems that way, but as we saw with Uganda, international expansion isn't always a smooth ride.
Right. It can be tricky.
It can take time to adapt to new markets, understand local regulations, and build a strong customer base.
It's true. Expanding to a new country isn't as easy as just setting up shop and expecting everyone to line up.
You got it.
You got to understand the local culture, the competition, all sorts of things.
A lot of factors at play.
Reminds me of that time I tried to make my grandma's famous lasagna in Italy. Let's just say it wasn't exactly a hit.
I can imagine.
And speaking of things that aren't quite adding up, there's still that mystery surrounding the subsidiary whose financials weren't reviewed.
Right, the one we were wondering about.
What do you make of that?
Well, it certainly piqued my curiosity if their financials weren't considered important enough to even be reviewed. It makes me wonder if this subsidiary is involved in something completely different from their core business.
This is something totally different from pumps.
Exactly. Maybe it's a new venture they're quietly testing out before announcing it to the world.
Like a secret project.
It's certainly possible. They could be dipping their toes into a new market, trying out a completely different product line, or even working on a groundbreaking new technology.
So they've got a secret lab tucked away somewhere working on something top secret.
Almost like a spy movie.
Now I'm imagining a team of brilliant engineers hidden away in a high-tech facility developing the next big thing.
It's fun to imagine.
What do you think they're cooking up a pump that runs on moonbeams? The self-cleaning irrigation system. The possibilities are endless.
While I admire your enthusiasm, I suspect it's something a bit more grounded in reality, but that's what makes this so intriguing.
Oh, for sure.
We have these tantalizing clues, and it's up to us to connect the dots and speculate. That's the fun part of financial analysis, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's like we're detectives piecing together a puzzle. We've got revenue growth, ESOPs, a board meeting, shakeup, a mysterious subsidiary, and even a venture in Uganda facing some headwinds. What does it all mean for Shakti Pumps?
It tells me they're a company that's not afraid to take risks and make bold moves. They're clearly focused on growth both within India and internationally, and they seem to be putting their employees front and center, which is a good sign, but like with any company, there are challenges and uncertainties ahead.
And that brings us back to the question we posed earlier. What's really driving this remarkable growth spurt?
Right. Have we cracked the code?
Yeah. Their core business is obviously doing well. But are the solar pumps taking off? Are they getting traction in international markets? Or is there something else entirely that we haven't even considered?
To answer that, we need to look beyond the numbers and consider the bigger picture.
The bigger picture.
What are the trends in the industries Shakti Pumps operates in?
Okay.
What are their competitors doing? What are the political and economic factors that could impact their business? These are all pieces of the puzzle that we need to consider.
So it's not just about crunching numbers,
No, it's more than that.
but understanding the context in which those numbers exist.
Exactly.
It's about looking at the company's actions and trying to decipher their strategy.
Uh,
It's about reading between the lines like a good detective.
I like that.
Speaking of which, remember how we talked about Shakti Pumps' focus on their Indian operations?
Uh-huh. That's our home market.
Well, their reports really hammer that home. They break down their revenue and profits by segment, and it's clear that the vast majority is coming from India.
So India is their stronghold. Yeah, that makes sense. Though their home market seems to be their bedrock, providing a stable foundation for all this growth.
Yeah, that's true. But it does leave us with a question. What's the long game when it comes to their global strategy?
Right, especially considering those losses we talked about in Uganda.
Exactly. Are they going to double down on expanding internationally?
Hmm.
Or will they play it a bit safer and focus on what's already working well in India?
It is a tough call.
It's a classic balancing act. For
Yeah.
companies on the rise, do you chase the potential rewards of new markets,
Yeah.
knowing there will be bumps along the way,
Right.
or do you stick with what, fine-tune it,
Yeah.
maximize your strengths? Only time will tell which path Shakti Pumps chooses.
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
This is what makes these deep dives so fascinating.
Yeah, definitely.
We get this glimpse behind the scenes,
Right.
analyze the data,
Yeah.
and try to anticipate what might happen next. It's almost like we're getting a sneak peek into the future.
I like that, a sneak peek.
And the best part is there's no single right answer.
That's true.
It all comes down to interpretation critical thinking.
Yeah.
And connecting the dots, it's about understanding the nuances, the potential risks,
Right.
and the possible rewards.
Absolutely.
So for you listening, here's something to ponder. What do you think Shakti Pumps should do?
Good question.
Go all in on global expansion
Okay.
or focus on dominating their home turf?
It's a tough choice.
There's no right or wrong answer, but it's definitely a thought-provoking question.
Definitely something to think about.
And here's a little homework assignment for you.
Okay. I'm ready.
Keep an eye on their future reports and announcements.
All right.
They might just reveal their strategy as they make their next move.
Good advice.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the world of Shakti Pumps.
Wow, that went by fast.
We've seen impressive growth, uncovered intriguing details, and encountered some unanswered questions. But one thing's for sure.
What's that?
This is a company to watch.
I agree.
They're dynamic, they're ambitious,
Mm-hmm.
and who knows what they'll come up with next. Let us know if you figure it out.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah,